The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
The tension building between black and white America would explode with greatest force in Detroit, Michigan. Motown, USA. In 1967, Detroit was booming. Federally funded urban renewal brought highways and skyscrapers. The auto industry brought employment. But success looked different to Detroit's black community. Urban renewal built expressways through black neighborhoods. It took jobs and resources to white suburbs. It left black residents behind.
4 days of rioting, looting, and arson rocked the city of Detroit in the worst outbreak of urban racial violence this year. Entire blocks of homes become infernos. At least 36 are killed, more than 2,000 injured, and damage topped the $500 million mark. Governor Romney declares a state of emergency, requests federal troops and 5,000 paratroopers reinforce the National Guard, state and city police. The city's industry and business are severely affected, and a tight curfew is ordered in the Motor Center. A besieged city of guerrilla warfare. Sniper groups use day and night hit-and-run tactics before tanks move in to curb their window and rooftop barrage. Wreckage is everywhere. Civil rights leaders make a joint condemnation of the violence and call for an end to the rioting. President Johnson, using firm words, urges the nation's citizens to support the maintenance of law and order.
I know that the vast majority of Negroes and whites are shocked and are outraged by them. Pillage, looting, murder, and arson have nothing to do with civil rights. They are criminal conduct. Your president calls upon all of our people in all of our cities to join in a determined program to maintain law and order, to condemn and to combat lawlessness in all of its forms, and firmly to show by word and by deed that riots, looting, and public disorder will just not be tolerated.
The expressway divided the community. When you could walk across the street and talk to your neighbor, it's no longer there. You got to go across a bridge, and if you go across that bridge, you ain't going to find that same neighbor because that space, the street is gone. All those houses in that neighborhood is gone.
Here is what the late President John F. Kennedy said about Detroit.
I want to assure you of the warmest and most cordial welcome in the United States. Detroit is the center of a great sports community in central United States. We are anxious to open our doors in this section of the country, and indeed through the entire United States, to you all, to share our nation and our hospitality with participants and spectators from all over the world. I appreciate this opportunity to appear before you.
There's a great temptation to become shrill about what happened here in Detroit in July. It's a temptation we wish to avoid. Today, more than at any time any of us can remember, is a time for truth, and hysteria is no friend of truth. Some of what you see and hear will make you angry, but if it does no more than make you angry, we will have failed in our purpose. If it does not expose you to the desperation of many Negroes, a desperation that breeds the outrageous and lawless things being said and done by some Negroes. If it does not impress you with the absolute urgency of relieving that desperation, then we will not have communicated what black America is trying to tell white America. For we believe that the greatest single need in America today is for communication between blacks and whites.
You constantly saw white guys on the assembly line, foremen in white shirts, who would leave and who would drive to a better neighborhood, who would drive a better car, and so forth. And there wasn't the opportunity there. There wasn't the opportunity.
It is a story of a city seeking new horizons in a resolute contest with great challenges. That city is Detroit. I am honored to be serving as mayor at this most eventful and productive period in Detroit's history. And I'm honored to be a participant in the Detroit story.
Opportunity came with power. In Detroit, that meant white power. It was symbolized by a police force that was 95% white. Generations of black residents had contended with police, especially four-man squads known as the Big Four.
When the Big Four pulled up, you jumped. I mean, when they said move off the corner, you moved off the corner. And where do young black men have but a corner? They don't have swimming pools. They don't have estates. They have corners in cities. And they stand around, they harmonize, they clown, they have fun. But when the Big Four would say, give me that corner, you gave them that corner.
Are you angry at anybody for all this?
No. I'm a Christian, and I just pray for everybody for things that they do wrong.
The Detroit riot lasted 7 days. It was triggered by a police raid on a blind pig. But the conditions which led to that riot have been with us for generations. They are still with us today.
And it wasn't unusual to see that the cops coming into neighborhoods and just arbitrarily grabbing people, you know, without any kind of provocation, slam us up against the wall, ask us for identification, where you're going, what you've been doing. Any kind of suspicion whatsoever would be cause for them to just go ahead and accost you.
We always wonder what it's going to be like when we're right in the center of one, and when you're the target. It's a very strange feeling. Because no matter how liberal you may think you are, or how conservative you may be, no matter what your own personal views are, all of a sudden you find that there are folks who live in the same town you do, in the same year, who hate you enough, at least on given occasions, to attack you. And it makes you kind of wonder. Not because you don't understand it. I suspect we all could list 5 or 6 reasons why something like this starts and why it continues. But because when it gets down to the very personal thing of just one guy against another guy on a street corner in your hometown, then it doesn't make any sense at all.
Police community tension was near combustion by the summer of 1967. The spark came on July 23rd. Police conducted a routine raid on a blind pig, an illegal after-hours club.
That's why the Negroes riding all up down here, you understand me? All these police, every time you see one of them, he gonna stop a brother, he don't never stop no white. That's why we out here riding, and we gonna keep on riding until they stop all this.
It was Sunday morning. Few police were in the area. Reinforcements were called in as the growing crowd began looting and burning.
The feeling in the streets at that time, kind of sense of euphoria, you know, a sense of freedom and rebellion. Everybody felt like unified, that, you know, the revolution was right around the corner, because we had been talking about those things in the community anyway. So everybody felt that this was the catalyst, this was the charge, this was the igniter.
43 Americans died in these streets. 386 were injured. 477 buildings were damaged or destroyed. The city of Detroit was shut down. Something like it happened in 76 American cities this summer. we saw soldiers patrolling our streets. We saw stores and houses in our neighborhoods that looked as if they'd been hit by bombs.
Moderate black leaders offered to help police. Dr. Arthur Johnson drove into the area with Congressman John Conyers.
The crowd, the whole scene was such that I could not drive my car further. John Conyers finally got out of the car, stood on the hood of it, and attempted to speak to the people about leaving the street and returning to their homes. And finally, I got out of my car. I whispered in John's ear, I would like to get my car out of here if I can.
Next summer, it could look like this in the downtown sections of our cities. It could look like this in the neighborhood where you live.
Inside of most black people, there was a time bomb. There was a pot that was about to overflow, and there was rage that was about to come out. And the rebellion just provided an opportunity for that. I mean, why else would people get upset about cops raiding a blind pig? They've done that numerous times before, but people just got tired. People just got tired of it. And it just exploded.
The simple fact is this: we're in the worst crisis we have known since the Civil War, and time is running short to try to find some answers to it. Most whites thought their relations with Negroes were good. There was no housing ghetto in Detroit. Negroes held important jobs at City Hall, in the police department, in the school system. 12 Negroes were in the state legislature, 2 in Congress. On the surface, whites could see no unrest. White and black seemed to live comfortably together.
The reason for this uproar, and I was reminded of the 4 gentlemen who were referred to as the Big Four, who used to ride around in this big DeSoto.
And these were police officers.
These were police
white
officers.
Police officers.
White police officers, never a black one. And they'd ride in the black neighborhood, and the only sin that they saw was the color of the skin, and they'd harass our men. And I think it came to a head when maybe 3 days prior to this performance at the Fox Theater, there was a rumor of an unrest on the corner of 12th and Claremont, I was told.
Then abruptly, shatteringly, the images were different. Burn, baby, burn. Drowned out, we shall overcome.
On the corner of 12th and Claremont, I was told, there was a blind pig being raided, and there was a crowd standing around as people were being put into what you call the Black Mariah. And one of the policemen supposedly had kicked one of the women being put into one of the vehicles, and the stand-buyers started the riot.
The first fact is that once the demands for civil liberties for Negroes in the South began to take effect, began to show some results, the Negro community moved from issues of liberty towards issues of equality. But for Negroes, equality meant 2 things, not just one. It meant more than simply equal opportunities for jobs, something comparable to the general standard of living, equal schools, equal rights to move around in the world. It also meant the demand for equal self-esteem, for an equal sense of your own worth and value, for the fact that black was just as beautiful in white America as anything else.